Welcome to the Illuminated Page, a program for readers, writers, and ignorance fighters. Today we will be talking about certain books, certain writers, what they do well, and how we can do those things ourselves. If your mother was anything like mine when you were growing up, she said certain things to you about food. First, she said, you never know until you try it. Second, she said, you need a well-balanced diet. When she said it, maybe it didn't rhyme. Third, she said, Third, she said, you are what you eat. Now, all three of those things can relate to how we read. You never know until you try it. Some people are just intellectual snobs. They look at books that others read and think, I would never like that. Well, how do you know until you've read it? Second, you need a well-rounded diet. Now, this is true physically, it's also true intellectually. You can't only read vampire romances. You can't only read thick Civil War histories. You need a well-rounded diet to keep your brain healthy. And third, you are what you read, or more specifically, you write what you read. That's the best reason to read widely. We can learn different types of writing techniques from different types of writers. So if we want to relate reading and writing to food, you have different types of food. First of all, you have your hearty, savory dishes, your meat and potatoes, your savory stews, your heavy dinners. These are writers like Hampton Sides, Erik Larson, Dorothy Sayers, nonfiction, Flannery O'Connor, fiction and nonfiction. It's hearty, it's challenging. This is like the complex carbohydrates for your brain. You learn certain things from them, but you can't only eat meat and potatoes. Every once in a while you need some takeout. This is your Terry Pratchett, your Douglas Adams, and all your other ridiculous comic writers. But we also have health food. Health food would be your literary criticism, your writers who write about other writers, your books about other books. Why would people read books about books? For the same reason that people would watch documentaries, for the same reason that people watch the extras at the end of the DVD, the film about making the film. The reason we need literary criticism is that our brain needs some health food. We need to understand what we're reading, why it works, and why we enjoy it. Then you have your protein shakes. These are your how-to books. Then we have what I call cupcake reads. These are books that are unchallenging, completely enjoyable, sugary dessert reads. A great example of this would be Hester Browne's books, especially the Little Lady Agency books. Now, reading widely across genres helps us develop different writing styles, and I've learned different things from each of these writers that I just mentioned. From Erik Larson, I learned that nonfiction can have one story that drives us all the way through a bigger story, how one person's life can help us understand a big event. We'll talk more about that in episode 6. So for now, let's move on to our takeout reads. Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. From him, I learned how to throw readers a curveball, whether that's in a single sentence, like when he wrote, the ships hung in the air the same way that bricks don't. Also, he threw plot curveballs, like when he put an improbability drive in the ship. First of all, the fact that the ship has an improbability drive is improbable. But once the improbability drive gets going, nobody knows what to expect from the plot, and it's super fun. From Hester Browne, the cupcake book that I mentioned, I learned how to subvert romantic expectations. Readers go into a book thinking they understand how the love lines are going to work. But from Hester Browne, I learned that you can sneak a curveball in, and readers can really appreciate that. From True Grit, I learned the fun seesaw effect of humor and horror, bouncing back and forth between the two, never knowing which one's coming next. That's a fun read. We're closer than ever to September 29th and the release of my first book, Collapsible. Check out the link. No, why can't I do this every time? We're closer than ever to September 29th. Check out the link to download my first novel, Collapsible, and I'll see you next week.